Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice of radio, though that voice is still kind of croaky today, I'm afraid. But we've got, really big news we need to be talking about, so we should probably have a look about S5A over in Japan. And quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds amazing. A couple of big shout-outs we need to give right as we get going here. The lovely Primal Lugia over at PokeGuardian.com for getting these images for us, making them aware of them. And Primal Lugia is so awesome that even sends me messages just to make sure I've seen the news so the video doesn't get delayed, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Primal Lugia, genuinely awesome dude. You know who else is awesome? The lovely Antoine Boulay, who has gone and provided a bunch of the translations for us here, because Antoine is also awesome. Also, while we're talking, we talked about some trademarks a little while ago. There is going to be a mild spoiler for the Crown of Tundra DLC, but we are going to save that till the very end of the video. I'll make it clear when it's coming up just in case anyone hasn't played it, but shall we say this might be a good time to mention that we have a bit more of an insight on some recent trademarks. But we'll start off with Sword and Shield 5A, Matchless Fighters. We have dummy booster pack artwork. And you can see on there that we've got both Rapid Strike and Single Strike Urshifu. We've got Blaziken. And we've got Galarian Slowking. So we've got new Pokemon coming. Now it is worth pointing out right off the bat that what we've got here is information on Sword and Shield 5A. Now we've already talked about Sword and Shield 5. Sword and Shield 5, I'll link that video in the description, but essentially that is the set which is introducing Urshifu. And we talked about that a bit, like I say, I'll link all that in the description. What is interesting to me is that the dummy artwork we've got for the booster pack still features Urshifu, even bearing in mind that Urshifu is being introduced in the previous set. Now remember, Japan has main sets and mini sets. This is very much in the vein of a mini set. So it looks like Japan is essentially doubling down and going, mate, look, Urshifu, pretty big deal, right? Why don't we actually go ahead and do another set based around Urshifu? It is hard to argue in that regard, ladies and gentlemen. It kind of is. So we're getting another set based around Urshifu, or at least featuring Urshifu. Now do bear in mind we are also getting some separate little packs which have Urshifu V, and we are expecting Urshifu V in Sword and Shield 5. So that is going to be quite a bit of Urshifu before all is said and done. Now this set is going to feature 70 cards plus secret rares, and is currently set for release on the 19th of March 2021. Now it is worth pointing out that these sets generally do stick. So usually when we get information about release dates, it's generally something which is actually to be stuck to. Now, to put that into a little bit of context, Sword and Shield 5, which of course is coming as a double set or two single sets in Japan, Single Strike Master and a Rapid Strike Master, is currently set for release on January the 22nd, which means that February will be another month that does not have a Pokemon TCG set released. We have been, up until the whole COVID thing kicked off, we were having a 3-month cycle in Japan with a main set, mini set, and a month off. But we had no set in October, we got Shiny Star V in November, no set in December, Sword and Shield 5 in January, and it looks like no set in February, so the release schedule has slowed down a bit here. But again, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, with everything going on in the world. Can you really expect much different? I would argue probably not. What does that mean for us? Well, we're not going to be getting these cards for a little while. We have just had the release of Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage is Sword and Shield 4. That came out in November of 2020. Just happened. Our Sword and Shield 5 we are expecting to get, interestingly enough, on the same day as this comes out. We are expecting to get Sword and Shield 5 on March the 19th, 2020. Although this is still a little bit up in the air and dates have been changing, you have been warned. Does this mean a simultaneous worldwide release? No. Because our Sword and Shield 5 is going to be Japan's Sword and Shield 5, and maybe some of the stuff from Sword and Shield 4A Shiny Star V, depending on whether that comes in our anniversary set in February or not. Because of that set, things are a little bit up in the air. It is likely that the majority of Shiny Star V is going to be in our anniversary set in February, and that our Sword and Shield 5 will pretty much just be Japan's Sword and Shield 5 and will therefore be a smaller set. We don't know for a fact, but that is what is likely at this stage. This particular set, Sword and Shield 5A, is going to be part of our Sword and Shield 6 set, which is going to be coming at the moment, and it is very much subject to change, but we think at the moment it's going to be June the 18th, 2020. That is the most credible rumour we've heard so far. So we know we're getting Urshifu, and we know we are seeing the debut of Galarian Slowking. Very much worth pointing out that we haven't had a Galarian Slowking card. We have had Galarian Slowbro, the version of Slowbro that debuted in the Isle of Armor. Now it looks like we are getting Galarian Slowking, which was a Pokemon that debuted in the Crown Tundra. So, you know, that's kind of fun. I wouldn't read too much into Blaziken. Sometimes we get all the first partners from a particular gen coming around together. Sometimes we don't. So I just would not read too much into Blaziken. I do find it very interesting that Blaziken has really become one of those Pokemon that does see a lot of love. Bearing in mind, we just got a new Blaziken in Darkness Ablaze. We don't really need another one right now. But is anyone gonna complain? I would argue probably not. It does feel like we should have the other first partners from Gen 3 first, but, you know, maybe we'll get them as well. Now, the really exciting news here, of course, is that we also do have a little list, 3 bullet points. They do this in Japan. This happens with card games like Digimon as well, where when the information is sent out, they give little bullet points to the shops to essentially hype them up and try and get their customer base excited. So we've got 3 little points about the set. Number 1, Sword and Shield 5A will feature a bunch of new Pokemon, items, and supporters with the Single Strike and Rapid Strike spec, further expanding these 2 playstyles. Now, do bear in mind, I told you previously that when we're getting the 2 Urshifu, they are going to be Single Strike and Rapid Strike Pokemon V. Now, a bunch of people, and I have, let's say, failed fairly miserably convincing some people. Some people have said, don't you just mean Single Strike and Rapid Strike Urshifu? They're not new cards. No, they are. And all the information we have is that they are new kinds of Pokemon V with new mechanics. The prevailing rumor over in Japan is that these are going to be very much like ancient traits. So think of things like Primal Groudon that had Omega Barrier that stopped it being affected by trainer cards. Or things like Excadrill, which had Omega Barrage. They weren't all Omega, but my favourites were, which let you attack twice during your turn. These are the kind of things that we are expecting to have, which is kind of cool. And it seems like we're getting more support for them. What I find especially interesting here is the fact that it's not just new Pokemon, it's also items and supporters. So in the same way that we got cards like Cherish Pool that let you search out a Pokemon GX, we should expect something that will help you out here. And then presumably some counter cards in the future as well, which is kind of awesome. We're also told that there will be powerful meta-impacting cards unrelated to Single Strike or Rapid Strike, such as new Pokemon from the Crown Tundra DLC. And frankly, that's got to mean the Galarian Birds. Because we've already been told about Galarian Slowking. A new Pokemon seems to suggest multiple. You do not pluralize Pokemon, so it's 1 Pokemon, 2 Pokemon, 3 Pokemon, etc. But this suggests to me more than 1. And it ain't going to be Calyrex. Because Calyrex blatantly is going to be having its own set. Calyrex very much is a kind of Pokemon that is going to have its own set where it really is the focus, in the same way that Urshifu are the focus of Sword and Shield 5. Honestly, if you asked me to guess, I would say that Sword and Shield 6, the next main set in Japan, is going to be the one that brings us Calyrex. And the only ones left are the Galarian Birds at that stage. Like, all we've got left is the 3 Galarian Birds, so it's not confirmed, but at this stage, I would genuinely be quite surprised if we saw anything other than the Galarian bird trio. There is one more new Pokemon in the Crown Tundra DLC, no spoilers, we'll get to it in just a moment. But it's not going to be that one either, again, for reasons we'll get to in a moment. So I don't know what else new Pokemon from the Crown Tundra could mean, other than Galarian Slowking and the Galarian birds. Now the third point and final point here is a really cool one. Apparently, there are going to be special art cards that show off the Pokemon's uniqueness and are sure to make pack openings even more exciting. I do find it interesting that the reveal here, the article, the press release, the advert, call it what you will, specifically makes reference to making pack openings more exciting. Like they're leaning into the fact that, you know what, it's 2020, or by the time this comes out, 2021, pack openings are a thing. And they're actually really good for the game and the hobby, and they spread the word. So you know what? Let's try and make them more fun. Obviously, for me, and this is just an excuse to show another Excadrill card, really, it does start making me think of the art cards that we got in Cosmic Eclipse. Things like the full art Excadrill with Clay and Excadrill that were absolutely beautiful. We don't know is the honest answer. It could be them. It could be something completely different. Remember, Amazing Rares, half of the point of them was, hey, look how cool and awesome and fun they look. But if these are Amazing Rares, they would just tell us they were Amazing Rares. It seems to be that they are focusing on the art, not the mechanic. And of course, Amazing Rares had the whole, hey, they're brilliant, but the attack cost is super awkward thing going on. So it seems very much like these are just art. Are they going to be alternate art of existing cards, like the ones from Cosmic Eclipse? Maybe. We honestly don't know. But the fact that there's new art cards, the fact that Single Strike and Rapid Strike are really being expanded into a mechanic, the fact that we're getting a bunch of new Pokemon being introduced into the TCG, this is a very exciting thing indeed. Now, the point I want to end on today's video, and this is where we are getting into spoiler territory for the Crown Tundra, so if you haven't played the Crown Tundra, if you want it to still be unspoiled, thanks for listening, you're awesome, I'll see you in the next video. If you have played the Crown Tundra or don't mind about spoilers, I want to remind you that we did have a couple of trademarks that we talked about in the recent past, and those trademarks were Silver Lance and Jet Black Poltergeist. And now that we've played the Crown Tundra, I think it is absolutely a given at this stage that these set names just refer to, well, the horsies, Glastria and Spectria. I refuse to believe anything else at this stage. It makes no sense. Jet Black Poltergeist is clearly referring to Spectria because it's a ghost Pokemon. There we go. And if we look at Glastria and remember that we got the trademark name Silver Lance, kind of like Ice, it's an absolute given at this stage. I would be genuinely stunned if those set names were anything other than them. So I would expect that to be essentially the upcoming set after this. And again, to be a double set, one focused around Spectria, one Glastria, and then obviously Calyrex will be built in there because it's Calyrex's horsey. I would expect to get a Calyrex in each of the sets, and a Spectria in one, and a Glastria in the other. One other cool little fact we need to mention before we finish here, the German name for Spectria is Fantoros. Ross is apparently the German name for steed, so Fantoros is Phantom and Steed, so Phantom Steed, it makes perfect sense. If I'd have known that, I blatantly would have gone for Spectria as I went through the DLC, but we all know I'm going to rebuy the DLC for Pokemon Shield in the near future anyway, so it doesn't really matter after all. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, lots of exciting news. We know some stuff for certain, there's some stuff we are very sure about, and then a bit of speculation as well. But this is big news. A new type of art card, confirmation that the Single Strike and Rapid Strike really are new mechanics that are going to be supported through upcoming sets, the introduction of new Pokemon. Oh, this ain't no clickbait, ladies and gentlemen. This is genuinely big, exciting news that is going to change the Pokemon TCG moving forward. It's just a shame that I can tell you some stuff. I cannot actually tell you what the single strike and rapid strike mechanic are, and I cannot show you any new art cards. But you know the deal. You know that the second these are revealed over in Japan, the second we have a good look at them, the second I can give you a bit more information, oh my lordy, I absolutely will. For now, I want to know what you think about what we do know, and I want to know your predictions for what we don't. So go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been listening to and watching a slightly croaky PTCG Radio. But don't worry, I'm fine. I've just been singing a bit too much lately, and that's not a bad thing.